What if you looked up at the night sky and realized you weren't staring into an infinite void, but a ceiling of one-way glass? We've spent decades screaming into the dark, wondering why the universe is so terrifyingly silent. There's a darker answer to the Fermi Paradox than being entirely alone. We are not abandoned, we are quarantined. Welcome to the Zoo Hypothesis. Today, we are exposing the chilling evidence that advanced civilizations aren't ignoring us, they are simply watching us from the other side of the cage. To understand the sheer scale of this nightmare, we first have to look at a simple, frustrating problem: the Fermi Paradox. Our galaxy alone holds hundreds of billions of stars, and mathematically, it should be absolutely teeming with intelligent life. Yet, when we listen, we hear absolutely nothing, just dead, cold static. But in 1973, an MIT radio astronomer named John A. Ball proposed a solution that still sends shivers down the spines of astrophysicists today. Ball suggested that the alien civilizations are indeed out there. They are millions of years ahead of us in evolution and technology, and they have collectively agreed to leave us alone. Imagine for a moment an ant farm sitting on your desk. You watch the ants build their tunnels, gather their food, and wage their tiny wars. The ants are completely unaware of your existence. Even if you tap on the glass, they lack the cognitive capacity to understand what a human is, let alone a glass enclosure. According to the Zoo Hypothesis, we are those ants. Earth is just a sprawling biological terrarium. The cosmic silence isn't an absence of life. It's a deliberate, meticulously enforced quarantine. They aren't hiding because they are afraid of us. They're hiding because any direct contact would contaminate their most fascinating, primitive exhibit: human civilization. And the most unsettling part? You never notice the bars of your cage until you accidentally bump into them. So, why lock us up? What possible motive could a Type 3 civilization have for treating Earth like a cosmic wildlife reserve? The most common explanation is the prime directive scenario, a concept heavily popularized by science fiction, but rooted in actual anthropological ethics. If a highly advanced society wants to study the natural, uncontaminated evolution of a younger species, they cannot interfere. If they showed up tomorrow in their gleaming motherships, it would instantly destroy our culture, our religions, and our entire trajectory of development. We would stop evolving and start copying. But there is a much darker, far more cynical variation of this theory. What if it isn't a zoo designed to protect us from the dangers of the universe? What if it's a cosmic quarantine designed to protect the universe from us? Think about it. Human history is defined by violence, conquest, and the rapid weaponization of every new technology we invent. We split the atom and immediately used it to vaporize our own kind. From the perspective of a peaceful, enlightened galactic federation, humanity might not look like a charming species of curious explorers. We might look like a highly volatile, deeply aggressive virus. In this terrifying scenario, the silent treatment isn't an act of scientific curiosity. It's a necessary containment protocol. They have locked the doors, turned out the lights, and are waiting to see if we mature enough to join the cosmic community, or if we simply destroy ourselves first. But if Earth is merely a cosmic zoo, we have to ask a logical question. Do the zookeepers ever step inside the enclosure? For centuries, mainstream historians have struggled to explain the sudden, explosive emergence of complex civilizations. But if you look at our past through the lens of the Zoo Hypothesis, ancient mythologies suddenly read less like fairy tales and more like operational logs. Take the ancient Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations. Their texts speak of the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the heavens. Mainstream science dismisses them as myth. But what if they weren't gods or magic? What if they were simply the keepers of the zoo, stepping down into the mud to check on their livestock, or perhaps to tweak our genetics? Across the globe, from the Great Pyramids of Egypt to the sprawling ruins of the Maya, our ancestors obsessively carved images of chariots of fire descending from the sky. They worshipped beings who brought them the gifts of agriculture, mathematics, and architecture. Now think about how isolated, uncontacted tribes in the Amazon react today when a modern conservationist flies over their territory in a helicopter. They don't see a scientist, they see a metal bird, they see a god. Our ancestors were no different. When the zookeepers occasionally breached the quarantine to tag the animals, prune the exhibit, or steer a revolution, early humans fell to their knees and worshipped them. These weren't divine miracles, they were simply routine maintenance operations. The sudden leaps in human intelligence, the unexplainable architectural marvels of the ancient world, what if these weren't anomalies of human ingenuity? What if they were deliberate upgrades? Every ancient text describing fiery shields in the sky or glowing beings delivering laws might simply be humanity's primitive attempt to document the wardens making their rounds. Fast forward to the present day. We are no longer primitive tribes staring at the sky with spears in our hands. We have radar, satellites, and nuclear weapons. And suddenly, the Pentagon is actively declassifying footage of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. These craft defy our current understanding of physics, moving at hypersonic speeds without a visible propulsion system. Yet skeptics always ask, if aliens are real, why do they just hover in the distance? Why don't they ever land on the White House lawn and introduce themselves? The zoo hypothesis provides a terrifyingly simple answer. Visitors at a zoo don't jump into the lion enclosure. They stand safely behind the glass. Or better yet, they deploy stealth drones to monitor the dangerous animals from above. The UAPs we are capturing on military cameras aren't invasion fleets, and they aren't diplomatic envoys. They're the zookeepers' drones, flying along the perimeter fence, making sure the exhibit is secure. But here is the truly dangerous part. Humanity is advancing. We are starting to recognize the drones. We are launching our own telescopes into the void, trying to map the walls of our cage. What happens to a wild animal in captivity when it finally realizes it is trapped? It panics, it attacks the glass. And what does the zookeeper do when an animal becomes too self-aware and too dangerous to manage? They put it down. So, the next time you step outside in a clear night and look up at the infinite sea of stars, ask yourself a question. Are you gazing out into a vast, empty universe? Or are you simply staring back at a colossal pair of eyes hiding just on the other side of the glass? If you want to keep unraveling the darkest mysteries of our universe, hit that like button, subscribe to Star Life, and ring the notification bell. We'll see you in the next exhibit.